And this is in my area. This is the flight line and this is one of our aircraft. See that square yellow on the side there? Mm-hmm. That means Bravo troop. And you can see the things on the side of right there are kills.
Wow.
This here, expound on this a little bit. See, that's got two 7.62 miniguns in there.
3,000 rounds a minute.
Yep,
Wow.
3,000 rounds a minute. So you could theoretically fire 6,000 rounds a minute there with those two guns. And this is what you would call a hog. This would be a light hog. These pods here are 19-shot pods. And these are 7-shot pods. Well, you can put 19-shot pods on the outside too. So you end up there with, what is it, 76 rockets?
Yeah.
Well, you will, and also another clue here, them rockets are sticking out of the tube. So those are 17-pound rockets. Because they got
right?
they all got the same flight motor and everything, but they put different warheads on it. The 17 pounds means the warhead weighed 17 pounds. 17-pound warhead was just iron warhead, high explosive. And then there was 10-pounders. Of course, a 10-pounder would fly further. You know, and then there was proximity fuses you could put on there so that when it got within a certain distance of something, it'd go off without even hitting it. They had fuses that would penetrate and then go off, and so on and so forth. So there was a lot of different, and we had the ones called nails, which we'll see the red puffs of smoke later.
Flechettes.
And one at a time, those you shoot.
No, you
those.
shoot pairs.
Okay.
And I could, in the cockpit, we'll see a cockpit here in a minute, and you can select 1, 2, 3, 5, up to 19. And you punch that button. If you had it on 19, you punch that button and hold it down, and in just less than 5 seconds, all them rockets you see sticking out of tubes are
All
gone.
of them? Really?
Are gone, because they'll, and we'll see that later with, you know, so we'll probably get into rockets a little more later.
I'm gonna go back just a minute here. I'm afraid I'll forget later. When he was in flight school and us wives got to go to the different places, they took us out to the firing ranges and stuff.
Cool.
And so we got to watch the Cobras fire them, and what's the one that went around with the tracers?
Miniguns?
Miniguns.
The miniguns,
Yeah.
they'd fire those, you know.
So you get to see him in action.
So yeah, so we actually got to see
So
him
he's
in
telling
action.
you something, you can understand maybe what he's talking
Right.
Oh, yeah,
about.
she's-
And
She knows. And in the movies, I'm like Terry, pisses you off once in a while. You'll see somebody shooting a minigun and it's going da 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 da. That ain't the way that minigun sounds. That minigun's going 6,000 rounds a minute. It can fire. That's 10 bullets every second.
oh my God.
It's got a very
That don't go
distinct-
rat tat tat. It
No.
goes brrrr.
And all those bullets come out.
Yep. And you see all these red tracers. You know?
And you'd haul 3,000 rounds of ammo for each gun. So you didn't just pull the trigger and let her roll. There was a technique for firing those. You didn't just do short bursts, because then the belt feeding it's jerking like this and the damn thing will jam. So
And
you'd
making your-
pull the trigger and let it fire for about 1 or 2 seconds, or more if you needed it, but you'd never do short bursts. Well, then you're not going to just sit there and smoke it, because in 30 seconds it's empty.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, it's trade-offs. And see, this thing probably got 10-pounders in the outboards, or
On the outside of the ones
yeah,
that-
or
there's
nails
other
or
ones there.
something, because you can select inboard, outboard, how many pair, and all of that. So we might have that to use for something else, and then you switch inboard for high explosive. It's all depending on what you was doing, how it mixed, and
So
You
you
know?
select it comes from each side to keep it even. You
Yeah,
have to. That's
that's
why
right.
it shoots
Yep.
2 at a time, so you're not flying like that, right?
Yep,
I mean, it has something
exactly.
below.
You get the picture. There you go.
Yeah.
There's 3 pair, anyway, 2 or 3 pair going out there. The rocket motor would burn for, I think it was a second and a half, and it was a free flight rocket. Wherever you was pointed when you punched the button, that's where it went. It guided it all. When it come out of the tube, these fins would fold out to control it so it'd fly right, and it would weather vane into the relative wind. You know, if there's a wind blowing from the right side, what's that going to do? That's going to blow to the side of it, and then fins sticking up, it's going to weather vane in to the wind.
So you kind of had to have an idea.
You had to have it in trimmed where you're not kind of sliding this way, because if you was, it'd come out and go like that.
And miss your target.
Yeah, and so you had to have it in trim, kind of like you was flying down a wire, not falling like this, because it'd come out and go down like that. But if you just screw it off, it was kind of fun. Fly along there and kick it out of trim, and that sucker would come out of there and go like this, you know.
Is that something you learned on the job training, or when you were in training? Is
In
that
training,
kind of something that they
you
taught
learn
you how to do?
how to get it on, and part of the instruments there is to make sure.
And those little charts and
Yeah,
that kind of stuff that
yeah.
you.
There we go. There's a 20 millimeter bird.
Oh yeah, look at that big one.
And also, you know, there's the cannon, the ammo. These panels on here, you notice, that look a little different than they do on a regular Cobra. Those are beefed up, stronger panels, because they're the muzzle blast from that cannon is right there beside the canopy and all of that. Plus, there's other panels on there that are beefed up too. You take one of them 20 millimeter birds to the range and fire it all day, and then the crew chief's going to spend half the night tightening screws because it just shakes the living hell out of it.
Probably makes it hot as hell in there too, doesn't it?
No, you
No?
don't. They don't bother it inside. You
No.
got air conditioning. You definitely get cordite smell
Yeah.
from the rounds and the smoke and all that, but it just vibrates the hell out of that thing. Because that looks like a Gatling gun, and it is, but they fired at a very low rate. It only fired 600 rounds a minute, so now you're getting boom, 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 boom. So you can
Shaking.
imagine.
Okay. Oh,
There we go. That's those flechette rockets. You know, it had high explosive rounds, white phosphorus rounds. You know, Americans always got to have nicknames for everything. So, white phosphorus was WP. You know, so some people called it Willie Pete or Wilson Pickett. You know. Well, these were flechettes, and then the rocket looked very similar to all the other rockets, except the warhead was more thin metal, plasticky looking stuff, and it had all these little tiny nails in there. It looked like a little dart, miniature, super hard steel dart. I got one on the wall out there in the shop. I stuck up there.
You got some of those, don't you?
I don't think I ever had any.
But anyway, they are molybdenum steel, little darts. They're bigger than a shingle nail, but there's thousands of those in this tube. And when you launch the rocket, the acceleration arms a deal in there, and when it gets, you know, 3/4 or second and a half away from the aircraft under acceleration before the rocket motor burns out, it arms that, and then when you see that puff of red smoke, or powder or whatever, that's when that canister blows open, and all of them darts come tumbling out of there and end up flying in there like that. And then you can imagine at that speed it goes through pretty much everything, bodies, and they brought rifles in. It was stuck in the metal of a rifle, you know,
Really?
and the stock and stuff like that. And And if it goes through your body, it makes a little tiny X where it went through, you know, and all that. But it definitely do its thing. And one pair of those rockets, you fire a pair of them, would put, I want to say two, I won't swear to it, but two of those little darts on every square foot of a football field. So it's kind of hard to miss something.
It blankets it.
Yeah. So, and of course, you know, you want to really blanket, put 3 or 4 pair out there, and it's a hailstorm of little steel darts.
Major damage.
Yep. Not going to blow anything up, but it's going to kill people